After all, goals without a plan are just dreams. So if you don't have your financial plan for your wealth journey, then it is going to be a disaster.
Namaste investors. Today here at T Capital Wealth, Aditya and me Gautami are going to discuss the difference between wealth management and a portfolio management. So let's get started.
Hello everyone.
So Aditya, let's get started with the question.
Yeah, sure.
So what is wealth management and why is it important for the investors?
Primarily, first of all, we need to understand the difference between what is wealth management and what is portfolio management. So wealth management is something, it's an art and science of picking up different kinds of investments, which will help you to grow over the time to create your wealth. It will be consisted of some amount of stocks, some amount of mutual funds, some amount of bond, or some other investments in other asset classes as well. Whereas portfolio management is something that the dedicated fund manager is allocated to a particular fund. They have an investment philosophy, an investment strategy, and they manage your money on that same investment strategy as well. So you can consider as wealth management will be a whole basket of your investment, whereas portfolio management could be one of the constituent of that whole basket among that plethora. So if you ask me ki, what is and why it is important, why wealth management is important for an individual investor or any of the entity, it is key. If you consider it as a cricket game, if let's say if you have a best batsman, it doesn't enough to win the match, or even if you have best bowler, that doesn't mean that single man will be responsible for winning the match, but you need a whole team where you need to have a best batsman, where you need to have a best bowler, some of the wicket keepers, and of course the other team members as well. Similar way, when you are going for the wealth management, it is not important just to have some high risk stock or some small cap stock or something that will give you high return, but you need to have a basket of all of your investments, like some of the risky investment which will give you a bigger returns, and some of the investments which will protect your or safe investments which will protect your wealth value when the market is in downturn.
Anyone wants to invest in a portfolio management fund. So what should an investor look for in a fund manager?
Well, that's the tricky one, and I guess many people lack into this kind of analysis while choosing a fund. Either it is a portfolio management fund or even a mutual fund. The scrutiny that you have to do in terms of fund manager it remains little bit of same. So let me start here with few particular points we will discuss. First is the past performance. You don't have to see कि last 1 year या 3 year में उस फंड ने कितना रिटर्न दिया है, but you have to see कि last 10 year में year on year basis और every year वो फंड ने कितना consistent रिटर्न दिया है. That is something you get the idea कि how expert the fund manager is. Second thing, you have to look at the things like कि what is the risk management style of that particular fund. फंड मैनेजर को अंदाजा आ जाता है कि यहाँ से मार्केट में थोड़ा सा स्ट्रगल हो सकता है, या यहाँ से मार्केट कंसोलिडेट कर सकता है या थोड़ा सा गिर सकता है. सो यू ऑल्सो हैव टू सी कि फंड मैनेजर ऐसे टाइम पे क्या एक्शंस ले रहा है. सो बेसिकली इसको हम लोग ड्रॉ डाउन स्ट्रेटेजीज बोलते हैं कि व्हेन मार्केट और पोर्टफोलियो इज अबाउट टू गेट टुवर्ड्स ड्रॉ डाउन, देन व्हाट आर द स्ट्रेटेजीज ऑफ द फंड मैनेजर. देन यू ऑल्सो लुक एट कि व्हाट इज द इन्वेस्टमेंट फिलोसॉफी ऑफ द फंड मैनेजर. Either he is a growth investor, either he is a value investor, or he likes to keep tumbling between sometime growth, depending on the market, like value and growth, and that's how you can choose the fund you wanted to. The one more important thing that I particularly focus on is what is the fees and the expense ratio of that particular fund, because it is very important. Ultimately, agar fund consistent perform कर रहा है, but it is able to let's say generate only the benchmark returns or some returns above the benchmark, then ultimately that expense ratio is hampering on the alpha or extra return that you should get. So in that case, I suggest कि expense ratio को थोड़ा सा importance आपने देना चाहिए.
What is the role of rebalancing in portfolio management according to you?
See, rebalancing is very important stuff that most of the investors who manage their investments on their own lacks in their investment management. So I would say that rebalancing helps your portfolio to keep on track with your investment strategy, with your risk, and with your investment goals. So ideally what happens is कि market moves every day. So with regards to market, so your investment strategy should also move.
Yes.
That's how you will be able to sustain in markets when there are downturns and when there are uptrends. So ideally, your investment strategy should be like your portfolio is moving higher when market is in boom cycle, and your portfolio should lose lesser value when the market is in burst cycle.
So if we are going for the portfolio management, why asset allocation is important in portfolio management?
So the answer for this question would be lie somewhere like this: ki if you want to go for portfolio management,
Okay.
then having a mix of different asset classes like equity, gold, or debt is very important, because when the markets are in downturn, some assets will not perform that well, but your safety asset or safe haven like gold or commodities will perform well. And historically, it has been seen that 90% of the portfolios that have outperformed their benchmark throughout the time have been very specialized with regards to their asset allocation, rather than just focusing on stock picking or doing equity research. And that's what we also say, ki the quote that do not put all of your eggs in one basket and diversify smartly has came up from. Hence, it is very important.
So as we have discussed enough of portfolio management, so let's dive into the wealth management. So as you mentioned that financial planning is a key point in the wealth management. So why is it important?
So ideally, financial planning is something that describes your risk appetite, ki how much risk you can tolerate with your investments. It also defines your investment goals, that within how many years, what are your financial goals and how they can be fulfilled. So that is very important factor in your wealth management. If you consider ki if you don't have financial plan and you are looking to just grow your wealth and investment, then it would be like that you are sailing into a sea, but without a map. So there is no destination, or there is no way that you would reach anywhere. After all, goals without a plan are just a dreams. So if you don't have your financial plan for your wealth journey, then it is going to be a disaster. Hence, you need to have a plan which will convert your all of the dreams into reality.
Tax planning in wealth management, according to you.
Yeah, so you need to understand ki whenever you are investing your amount into particular investment product, then when you get the return and you exit that investment, you are going to get accrued with the hefty taxes that government is going to take obviously from you. So for that, if you do a well ahead tax planning, then it makes sense that, let's say if you're talking about equity mutual funds, then you have option to allocate some of your investment into, let's say, ELSS investments or PPF investments, or you can do some NPS investments, so that the after tax returns that you get, or the money after exiting, the post tax money that you get should be maximum, and the tax you pay should be minimum. So it is very important.
And what's the biggest myth about the wealth management?
Myth is not exactly a myth, but I say it's a need, that many people consider that wealth management is only required for ultra rich people. That is not the reality. Anyone with the financial goals, or with the salary, should have a wealth management team, or some, at least they should be connected to some of the advisor who could advise them on the financial thing. And ideally, the things come is ki it doesn't matter even if you have a small SIP or something, then you can use digital platforms. There are multiple things available today, you can utilize them. But if you could afford, I would suggest that it's better to have an advisor or some of the person who is by your side and who is skillful and knowledgeable in this particular sector.
Okay.